Welcome back to DellyMaths Concepts. We're looking at some trig ratios in this segment. So let us just take a look at these questions. So I'm going to be looking at number 1, number 3, and number 4. So let's get it on. So number 1, we could see a right angle triangle. We've seen the notation there for a right angle, which is very important to what we have to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify the sides in terms of whether or not we're looking at the opposite side, the adjacent side, or the hypotenuse side, and then we're going to decide. Bear in mind that we're going to be using this. So we're using, let me write this, we're going to be using Soh Cah Toa. And we're using that to help us to decide what ratio we're going to be using to solve the problem. So let us identify the sides for number 1. So as you can see, we're seeing the angle down this section, right? So we have the angle in this corner. For this angle, next door to the angle, we're looking at the adjacent side. So 6 is an adjacent side. X is actually across from the 90 degrees. And the moment you are across from the 90 degrees, you are the hypotenuse side all the time. So the two things that we have surrounding this angle is the adjacent side and the hypotenuse side. With that said, it means then we're going to have to use that cosine ratio. What does the cosine ratio suggest? It suggests that the cosine of an acute angle in a right triangle is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse side. So in this question, we're looking at the cos of 72 degrees is actually equal to the adjacent side, which is 6, over the hypotenuse side, which is x. So what we want to do here is we're going to do a quick cross multiplication. And by that, I mean the 1 will multiply by the 6, and the x will multiply by the cos 72. So it's going to be x cos 72 degrees. And this is actually equal to 6 times 1. So 6 times 1, let's write this back. 6 times 1 is 6. And to find the x, we're going to divide by cos 72. Because the intention is that we want to isolate the x. So at this moment, x is equal to taking 6. Make sure your calculator is in degree. And you're dividing this 6 by the cosine of 72 degrees. And we're getting 19.4. And this is to 1 decimal place. All right, so that's number 1. Let's take a look at number 3. So with number 3 said, we're looking at this triangle here. So for this angle, they asked us to find the side opposite to it. So this is opposite. But we were given the side next door to the angle, and it's not the hypotenuse, right? We were given the adjacent side. So this is adjacent. Which one of those ratios, and I'm going to rewrite it, which one of these ratios would include the opposite and the adjacent side? It's this one. So then we're going to be using tangent. So the tangent of any angle or acute angle in the right triangle is equal to the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. Now the tangent of the angle is 24, is equal to the opposite side, which is x, over the adjacent side, which is 12. What we could do is still cross multiply quickly. So x times the tangent of 24 is equal to 1 times x. Remember, 1 times x is x. So if I just put in 12 tangent of 24, then my answer is going to be 5.3. So that is the length of that side there. All right, let's take a look at the last question. So in this last question, we do have the angle 51. We were given the opposite side, and then we are asked to find the hypotenuse side. So then using Soh Cah Toa, we need to decide. So we got the opposite side, which is 14, and the hypotenuse side. So it's going to be sine. So what this says is that the sine of an angle in the right triangle is equal to the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse side. So it's the sine of 51. This is going to be the opposite side, which is 14 divided by x. We could cross multiply. X is sine 51 is equal to 1 times 40. Sine 51 is equal to 14. Let's divide by sine 51. So we're dividing both sides by that. So it means then to find x, it's going to be 14 times, or 14 divide rather, by the sine of 51. And we're having 18.01. So 18.0. Thank you for watching DellyMaths Concepts, and see you next time when we look at some more videos.